And we are live. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream, and thank you all for being here. Now we are going to. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world. Really appreciate everybody, and now we'll be going over to next window. All right, so hello everyone. Welcome to the Alien stream, and now what we're going to be doing is talk about all kinds of things and going down different rabbit holes, which I think will be pretty cool. So, yesterday it was a nice chill stream with Brooks. People thought it was quite humorous. People like those because it is very funny. It's absolutely ridiculous, completely comical. Right, and we're going to be going down various rabbit holes. I'm going to be reading about and talking about to everybody. So now this time we're going to go into this, and here we go. Let's see. Yeah, earlier now on the mainly on the phone lives, we've been talking about a lot about cryptids, and there are various ones that we have discussed throughout time on the phone lives mainly, and now on this one we're going to go over one we've mentioned before because I think it is quite an intriguing one. So there have been different cryptid sightings on this land for, you know, long before it was the United States. They had what we would call cryptids that were discussed. So this will be a first part of the rabbit hole. Is there's something called the the Wendigo, which I think is it's more like an omen spirit, but it's still a monster beast of some kind, obviously, because it's a very grotesque skull antlered creature. Right. It is a creature from the Algonquian folklore, which I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but it's a tribe that existed within the country at some point. Maybe they still exist today. I don't really know much about them. And there are several accounts and modern eyewitnesses claims that are allegedly true, and we're going to go over a couple of them that might be true. So it usually appears as it's kind of like the seven deadly plagues or the seven deadly horsemen, and representing different sins in their culture. It's kind of a similar concept that they have. So we will go for the earliest known one, which is the Swift Runner. It was in 1879. It's one of the most famous historical cases. Involves the Cree Tapper in Alberta. During a brutal winter, Swift Runner claimed to be possessed by a Wendigo spirit, leading him to delete, kill, and eat his entire family, despite having access to emergency food supplies at a nearby trading post. And then in 1907, there was Jack the Fiddler case. And Jack the Fiddler is an. Oh, thank you, Saw Girl. I really appreciate that. It was nice chatting with you the other night. We had a very good stream and had a very good crowd. I appreciate the compliment. And yeah, that was a very uh, definitely a very interesting conversation about theology last night. And I like the new people we got in. We I went into the daytime, kind of like into the morning, and we finished everything. It was quite an eclectic conversation of various things. So yeah. Oh, hello, Duke. Yeah, the rabbit hole stream. Yes. Weird. That's yeah, definitely. It's I love these garden lives because so many people have their own encounters about UFOs or aliens that they or cryptids. Hello, Anna. Welcome to the stream. And Sawgirl says I mostly just sat back and listened till the end almost. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, it was nice to have you present. And shout out to you, Anna. Thank you for being here. Yeah, definitely was very intense. Very intense. I like how the conversations shift around. Pretty cool. Now there is Jack the Fiddler case in 1907. Jack the Fiddler is in. He was a shaman, claimed to have deleted 14 Wendigos throughout his life, and he was eventually arrested by the Northwest Mountain Police for deleting a woman he believed was process of turning into a Wendigo. Now, it kind of reminds me of Chad Daybell of that character because he believed that certain people were possessed or not possessed. That was pretty cool. That of that comparison, it just shows you throughout time people do the same things they did before. Like a lot of times people don't change. All right, the park ranger's encounter. A modern report from the park ranger describes an encounter with a tall, possibly thin creature that exhibited unnatural speed and let out a guttural shriek that seemed to suck the life out of surrounding forest. And there is the sighting of the in the Rose River in northern Manitoba. Reports from the 20th century describe a very big giant that seemed to eat, flesh, and was seen roaming near the river. And witnesses described the figure that was nearly skeletal with skin scratching tight and bones. It seemed like smelled of decay. This reminds, although this is a land creature, reminds you of the concept of the Kraken because the Kraken was this creature that existed, in the deep seas, which were able to confirm that there were Krakens that existed throughout time. These, larger squid than what we're usually used to seeing. They get bigger and bigger in the water because they have evidence that they really are real. That's allegedly from the different depictions of it what it was like. So this is like a land version of that. Yes, at the moment, Sawgirl, I'm talking about the Wendigo, the rabbit hole of the Wendigo. Of course, there's other things we're talking about too at the same time. That's what we're talking about at the moment. Hey, comedy, good to see you, buddy. We are talking about we're going down rabbit holes of various things and the Wendigos. All right. The Ghoul of the Woods. A terrifying account from a hiker describes being stalked by a creature with jerky movements, and long dog-like legs. The witness found a shredded backpack nearby. Yes, a classic cryptid. Backpack nearby and barely escaped as a creature attacked another man on the trail. Yeah, because it seems like in these types of situations, they will be able to find, all kinds of these things that exist. They in the woods, you don't really know what's lurking in there because I'm sure, as I said, there are creatures in there we're not completely familiar with, and that certainly would be an unfortunate thing to come across and seeing a thing with jerky movements and long dog-like legs. Because you're seeing that just walk around the woods. It's quite, scared. There was this other situation that happened where somebody was hunting and they saw one of the indigos walk around. Person, it was from one of their relatives. They didn't know exactly if it was true, but it very well may have been. It was a story that was passed down from a user's relative and from one of their grandfathers or something. And I do believe people do see those type of things, even if it does seem quite maybe far out. Okay, the Abish Shabbos, 1840s. A Cree spiritual leader named Abisabish was accused by his community of being a Wendigo after he became greedy and deleted a family. He was eventually deleted by 3 men who believed his transformation was a danger to the tribe. And there was the logging road stalker, a witness hiking on a logging road trip, reported a still dim figure watching from the trees after setting up camp. The hiker heard deliberate footsteps and later found slashes on their tent and crude carvings of eyes nearby the trees. Now, this is the cultural significance and moral compass about this. In the traditions, the Wendigo primarily serves as a cautionary tale against the dangers of selfishness and greed. That's basically what it is. And the creature represents the unstable greed. It grows in proportion to every person it eats, ensuring it perpetually starving. This serves as a warning that giving into selfish centered desire only leads to further spiritual decay. Now, I believe, and nowadays in society, that is what is happening. It's like it could be used for something good, but a lot of times it could just be used to further decay a civilization or a person specifically. Right. The enforcing community values, survival in harsh northern winters historically depended on the sharing and cooperation. The Wendigo myth reinforced that the bonds by labeling these who hoarded resources or refused to share as monsters. Yeah, and today it's mainly used, not mainly used, but a lot of times it's used as symbolism for political stuff and greed and life. Now there's something called Wendigo psychosis. Is a Now comedy has a interesting point here. It says maybe the spiritual resonance of humanity is so low that the sorts of beings no longer even interact with us. Maybe that is true. That could be a good point. And I do think there are, from what I've seen online with various people uploading videos all over the place, there are lots of sightings of creatures like this and other types of ghosts or spirits that appear. So I do think the majority of society is definitely would be low in that end. I agree, and it doesn't get visited by it, and it could either take another form or the people just go into self destruction because there's like no going back and trying to salvage some of these people. And Sawgirl has another good point. That would not surprise me, at least comedy. That's why I think aliens haven't really made themselves known to us because we're kind of like a violent planet. Yeah. And something, because there are sightings throughout the past of these Wendigos, and there's modern accounts of these things too. Yeah, it's kind of similar to the Rake in a way. Yeah. And most aliens, you would say not making contact with us. Oh, thank you, comedy. I appreciate it. Most would not do that because simply the fact of humanity, as you can see, does have a problem with fighting each other and fighting themselves. And, we have these alleged either fallen angels or real angels or aliens or both came down here and gave humans technical information that apparently they may have not supposed to have been having at a certain time. And then when they got these informations, they went and destroyed everything. They learned how to make metal. And look, I'm also humans made things on their own too over time. And when that happened, aliens are looking at it and they're seeing all these wars, all these conflicts, and I could see them being reluctant to wanting to reveal themselves. I do think that the governments do hide and try to conceal information about them. And there seems to be theories that aliens might want to help and try to stop us from self destruction because they do have technology that would really help us a lot. And okay, and going into this right here, let's see. We are about to get into. Oh, hello, Moki. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you with us as we go down the rabbit hole. We're talking about the Wendigo cryptid and a couple of different rabbit holes are going down, but that is one of them we just talked about a moment ago. Now we're getting into the rig. All right, so diving right into the rig. All right, in a way, yes, but more of a digital campfire story. So the Wendigo comes from cultures of the indigenous, and let's see what the rake is exactly. The which I know what the rake is. But we're going to go over to down a rabbit hole about it. All right. In stories, the rake is described as a terrifying predatory humanoid creature with several distinct features. It typically depicted as an unusually tall, around 6 feet, pale, hairless, and emaciated being that often crouches or moves on all fours. So yes, Saw Girl, it's something that originated from online communities. Oh, and the Wendigo is from indigenous cultures. Yes, definitely. Like and sub. Yes, thank you, chat. And distinctive features. It has a large, hollow, glowing eyes and long, sharp claws, hence the name Rake. Some versions describe it having a hinged jaw filled with many small teeth. It is known for stalking victims, often appearing as at the foot of their beds at night to watch them sleep. It is generally described as a hostile, sadistic, capable of causing extreme psychological trauma and physical harm. It originated the alleged stories originated from 4chan user started to, yeah, very creepy. ask for help. So a user started asking for help because of a monster, and through a series of posts, the community collectively uh, designed and looked for the backstories. And there is some fabricated history to give the monster an air of authenticity. Writers created the documents of 1691 Mariner's Log and 1880 Spanish Journal entry, 1964 suicide note, and there's trail cam photos of it too. And let's see. Now these some are alleged sightings of this rake. All right. So Mariner's Log, 1691, which I mentioned a moment ago, is the account claims that the mariner encountered the creature in the New World. It states that the creature took everything and demanded that the crew leave and never return to the area. And the Spanish journal entry. So the entry describes an individual greatest terror. The writer mentions a hollow black eyes when they close their own and feeling of the creature's wet hand. In 1964, a self-deletion note. This note was reportedly written by a man who claimed to have seen the rake's form and heard its voice, and he wrote that it could no longer sleep for fear of what he might experience, and left the final message for someone named Linny, saying he spoke your name. Scared. Right. The 2003 media blackout. According to the lore, series of sightings in the Northeast U.S. sparked brief local media interest during the summer of 2003. The legend claims that nearly all records of the events were mysteriously destroyed or are blacklisted from the publication. In 2006, there is an alleged first-hand account, and this is considered the most detailed story of the Rake's mythology. A woman claims she and her husband woke to find the Rake sitting at the foot of her bed. The creature allegedly attacked their daughter before fleeing. Husband and daughter later was passed away in an accident. Rushed to the hospital when they're rushing to the hospital. Right, and yeah, so that is what the Rake is, Saw Girl, and it's originally from an internet story. Now, comparing the Rake and the Swift Runner, all right, the Rake, it was in 4chan in 2005, and the Swift Runner, a Cree hunter in Alberta, executed in 1879. Primary source: fabricated found documents. Various found documents that were apparently trying to put there to prove that the Rake was real. And then the Swift Runner was a historical case, court transcripts, official reports, and a priest's confession. Ah, yes. All right. And scattered human remains and butchered bones found in the camp. And explanation: the predatory cryptid that stalks and attacks a victim, and the other one is tribute to Wendigo psychosis, the Swift Runner. Okay, so I'll explain to you what the Swift Runner is. All right. So Unlike the supernatural sightings of the rake, the Swift Runner case is well documented criminal record of the cannibalism and family side. Kind of reminds me of the what's it called, Michael Myers. In the spring of 1879, the Swift Runner returned alone from winter hunt, claiming that his family starved. Authorities became suspicious because he appeared well fed and healthy rather than emaciated. And let's see about this right here. This other thing. All right. So, Camp Discovery. Northwest Mountain Police traveled to his camp and discovered the horrific scene. The bones of his wife, mother, and six children were scattered and broken open for marrow. Confession of possession. The Swift Runner did not deny the killings. He claimed he was possessed by a Wendigo spirit that haunted his dreams and urged him to consume his family. For execution, he was tried and became the first man officially executed by hanging in Canada. In the Northwest, witnesses noted that he showed no signs of typical possession. At his death, even shared the final meal with his guards. See this? Let's see. So basically, because I mentioned the Swift Runner, and it may not be exactly known what that is, and get more in detail about what exactly happened. Okay, Swift Runner is a documented historical tragedy from 1879 that serves as the most famous real world case associated with the Wendigo psychosis. So, the Swift Runner was a pre trapper and former guide to Northwest Mountain Police who was generally well respected in his community. Osagro Dinata. And the journey. In the winter of 1878, he took his wife, six children, mother, and brother into the remote forest north of Edmonton, Alberta, to hunt. Returned in the spring of 1879. Swift Runner returned alone, claiming his family had starved to death during a particularly harsh winter. Suspicions. Local authorities and his wife's family became suspicious because the Swift Runner apparently healthy and well fed rather than emaciated from starvation. Imoki says hello to Duke. All right, discovery. When investigators from the Northwest Mountain Police traveled to his winter camp, they discovered a gruesome scene. Human remains. So this is the part where the human remains come in. The bones are scattered around the site, which had been broken up and extracted from marrow, and they found a pot filled with human fat and skulls, and Swift Runner eventually identified as belonging to his family members. So he had a trial, and he insisted he was possessed by the Wendigo spirit that haunted his dreams, urging him to consume human flesh. The jury did not accept his spiritual defense and found him guilty of murder. He showed no attempt to hide his guilt during the trial. Scared. On December 20, 1879, Swift Runner was executed, and for Saskatchewan, he described him remarkably calm, reportedly joked with his guards, and helped, with the preparation. All right. Yeah, so it definitely shows about either something spiritual or something psychological. Yeah, Smokey, drop away. I'll be glad to look at them. That way. Okay. So now the case of the Swift Runner is often viewed identified historical examples of the Wendigo psychosis. When the fact of the murders are well documented, the interpretation of why they happened varies significantly between modern medical science and traditional debriefs. So this is like a psychological perspective of what about this psychosis, because it's like somebody going crazy and thinking that they are being possessed by this thing, which I believe in spiritual world, and I think this is important for people to understand either medically or psychologically or spiritually or all of the above. I always love these links. Okay, and just go this way. All right. All right, and let's get this one right here. Yeah, link collection. Go and yeah, this one here. X. All right, I got some more. Yeah, noise. And right here, the new stickers is Claude, a swamp puppy, and an angel. Yeah, and Moki said, "Okay, sorry, y'all. Just need to send those to my alien." Yes, yes. She needs to sell it. She needs to go and. Oh, the Kandahar giant. Oh, I am too. I am too, and definitely got lots of different views and stuff. So some of you may not know about the Kandahar giant, but we'll get right into that. And basically, we will go here and let's get right into it. Hello, mermaid. Welcome to the stream. I hope that you are doing fantastic. Let's see. So shout out to you, Mermaid. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Glad that you were here. So what is the Kandahar Giant? For those that may not know, is the legend centers on a 2002 encounter where the U.S. Army Special Forces unit allegedly discovered a 13-foot tall humanoid in the mountains of Afghanistan. According to the lore, the team was sent to find a missing patrol when they came across a cave littered with destroyed military equipment. A massive creature with red hair, 6 fingers, and double rows of teeth supposedly emerged and impaled one of the soldiers with a spear before the rest. The unit was sustained with the rifle. So what happened was there is this in 2002 you had a group of soldiers that were listening to a call. Hey guys, happy Easter. Just got off a debate on judging Christians. Okay. YouTube for me is impasse. Subliminal did horribly, sadly. Anyone didn't like the game. And okay, understood. And let's see. For me, it's an impasse. Subliminal did anyone didn't like the game. Now, if that's the one you put out recently, I liked it. I thought it was, which I believe that may have been the most recent one you put out. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool and filled with a variety of different things. Which I think that was the one you put out recently, which I'm not quite sure. But okay, thank you, Mermaid, for the update about it though. And okay, Mermaid said, been cleaning all day and doing my own, say, pull back, throwing. Necessarily, and Sally was the game itself. Now, Mermaid did. Now, what did people not like about it exactly? And I thought it was pretty cool, but I guess everybody has their own different interpretations about it. I liked the different slides and stuff. It was nice. Now, although I personally I personally don't care what people think and stuff, but still, for if you feel that that game wasn't good, you could always do another one. And also, I like the different slides, and if that's the one I'm thinking of, I like the different water slides and the different passageways. It was like a movie scene. Okay, Mermaid said it took long to come out and was just puzzles, no pools and stuff. I mean, everyone else had the same complaints. Okay, and I understand. And as I said, you do what you think is best. And I personally thought it was cool, and I liked the mix up with it because it was. I'm sure there are people out there that would like that game. Even if it may not be people that are there at the moment, but it was. I'm glad that you gave it a try. But I personally thought it was very cool. But if you want to stick to the other types of games you do, then just do those instead. Right. And thank you for the update about what's going on with that. So the Kandahar Giant is when these different types of creatures were allegedly being talked about, which was giants and stuff in Afghanistan. Oh, it's okay, Mermaid. I like to hear about what's going on with your channel. Thank you. So, what happened was in this desert, there is some soldiers that were going missing. So this group went out to go figure out what exactly happened. When this occurred, they saw this giant with red hair, and he had 6 fingers, 6 toes, and he was very huge. and the U.S. soldiers were fighting him, and they had started with this open fire on him, and it happened for quite a few minutes, and one of them was impaled by a spear. But so that is like the beginning part. They're going and they're fighting this beast, and one of them gets impaled, and a gunfight happens, and he looks white with red hair. Ryan said, another question for everyone. Anyone heard Kanye's concert in LA? It was really good. People wanted to perform at the Super Bowl this year. I didn't see about Kanye's concert, but I certainly would think that it would be good to see. But I don't really know. Look, I have to go and see the song. I didn't see the song, so I have to go look at it first. But that is interesting, and if it's really good, which he is, good at his, a good musician, good at singing and stuff. It probably was good, and I hope he, does at the Super Bowl. I just didn't see the song yet, but thank you for filling us in on that. All right. So, and proponents of the story. So, he played old and new songs. That's good. That's good. So, oh yeah, yeah. That would be good for him to keep on doing that, and hopefully he can get even further to the top. He's already at the top, but he could go to the Super Bowl and do it there too. That would be nice. But the so eventually with the Kandahar Giant, they eventually took him out and deleted him, and they brought his body to a Air Force base somewhere in the United States. That was something very cool that he did. So, that the soldiers were able to take out the Kandahar Giant, and they took it to the base. Now, they don't tell you exactly what happened to it, or they did experiments on it, or studied it, but they brought it back to a U.S. base in America. But that's what happened. It was about 13, 14 feet tall, and they deleted it, and it's allegedly a legend or something not true, but it's to me, I believe it's real, and it was a case in 2002 when the soldiers took out the Kandahar Giant, and there's other factors in this case that I think are quite interesting. Proponents of the story claim that, hello Nana, welcome to the stream. Proponents of the story claim that the military admittedly initiated a massive cover-up to hide the creature's existence. The narrative suggests that a Chinook helicopter airlifted the body to a transport plane, which eventually delivered remains of the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base for classified study witnesses. And these stories often report being forced to sign non-disclosure agreements, which they claim is why there is no official paper trail or public evidence to the events. The story gained mainstream popularity through paranormal researchers and authors like Steve Q. These figures often link to Nephilim, a race of giants mentioned in the Bible and other ancient texts. For many believers, the Kandahar giant serves as a modern proof that these ancient supernatural lineages still exist in remote, unexplored corners of the world. Now, the military has not confirmed this or not, but they allege that it happened. So what we're talking about is this something called the Kandahar Giant, which was in 2002. The U.S. military was checking out a location where there is some men missing, and they came by this cave, with a bunch of like body parts all over the place, and they saw this 13 to 14-foot giant with a spear, and they opened fire at it to fight back, and one of them was impaled by the one of the by the giant. And they had a for a few minutes they had opened fire and had a fight with it, and eventually they were able to kill it, and apparently allegedly they brought it back to the Air Force Base in Patterson Patterson Air Force Base. And there's seems to be linkings to the Nephilim and the Bible, or that some of these creatures of some kind still exist. It had 6 fingers, 6 toes, and was white with red hair. Yeah, happy almost Easter. From a factual and military standpoint, the story is widely considered and the urban legend hoax, and investigating the agencies, including the Department of Defense, had no record of the incident, but I believe they're probably trying to hide it. And the military records from '02 do not show these things, but I believe it's definitely a cover up. And despite the lack of physical evidence, the Kandahar Giant remains a staple of military folklore. It reflects the common theme among the mythology of the soldiers. So yes, and I was talking to different people from uh, like Tasmania and New Zealand, and a lot of the people say that it would it basically would be a cool thing. Yes, Nana, thank you. Please subscribe to this channel. Yes, thank you. So they had giants in New Zealand and Tasmania, and they looked the same way. They were white with red hair. That's what the natives talked about. So all over the world, they talk about these types of giants. Now, so going over, so now you have an idea about what the Kandahar giant is. We will be doing this. It was 2002, and we were deep in the mountains of. So this is like from a first-hand account of the experience. It was 2002, and we were deep in the mountains of Kandahar. A patrol had gone dark, and no radio contact, no GPS pings, just silence. My team was sent in to find them. We hiked for hours through the terrain, so jagged and remote it felt like the moon. The air was thin, and the silence was heavy, like the mountains themselves were watching us. We finally rounded a bend and saw it. A cave entrance, but it wasn't just a cave. The ground outside was littered with gear, cracked helmets, and shredded vests. A piece of M4 rifles that looked like they'd been snapped like twigs. There was a smell too. It was thick and oily. like rotting meat mixed with old musk. Just as we started to fan out, something moved in the shadows of the cave. It wasn't a man. A giant lunged out. I'm talking 12, maybe 13 feet tall. He had his wild, matted red hair and beard that reached his chest. He was pale, but his skin looked like leather. He didn't have a gun, he had a spear, a massive, wicked thing, made of wood and bone. Before we could even scream contact, he drove the spear right through one of our guys, Dan. He lifted Dan off the ground like he weighed nothing. We opened up on him. All of us, it was a wall of lead. M4s, 308s, the works, but the thing didn't go down. It took hits that would have dropped a grizzly, just soaking up the rounds while letting out his gruntal chest shaking roar. We finally shifted our fire to his face. It looked a solid 13 seconds, concentrated fire to his head before his knees buckled and he hit the dirt with a thud and buckled his boots. No, with face. We finally shifted fire at his face and it looked solid 13 seconds of constant fire, and he eventually buckled and he hit his head in the dirt. Thud vibrated, and he felt it through his boots as well. All right. And after it was all over, the suits showed up fast. Chiniko landed, and they dropped a massive cargo net. They hauled that thing out of there, and we were told in no uncertain terms to shut our mouths. They made us sign an NDAS, basically said if we ever talked, we disappear. They told us it never happened, that Dan died in a regular firefight, but I saw 6 fingers on that thing's hand. I saw the double rows of teeth. I knew what we killed in those mountains. All right. And so that is the story of the horror giant for chat. And also, we will go here and let's see. Next part of this is the other one, interestingly. Nevada has another interesting type of. So, Nevada has a type of cryptid that's similar to a giant. The CTK, meaning tool eaters. The in the northern Patu language are legendary race of red-haired giants said to have lived in northern Nevada, according to Paiute and the origin no Paiute and the oral traditions. These giants were all tall, fierce, and cannibalistic, frequently warring with local tribes. The story follows a similar pattern to the Kandahar giant, but with actual archaeological discovery. So, interestingly, in other parts of the world, yeah, Duke, that's definitely the Space Yeti is a good example of this. And the legend of the Paiutes claim they fought a long war against the CT-Ka. To end the threat, the tribes trapped their remaining giants inside Lovelock Cave. They piled the brush at the entrance and set it on fire, suffocating and burning the giants alive. So all over the world, there are these, in the islands of New Zealand, the islands of all over different parts of that region, like Tasmania, all the way to Afghanistan to Nevada. There's all these types of giants. So interestingly, in Nevada, there was this, account of giants the same looks to them. And discovery in 1911, miners digging for bat fertilizer in Lovelock Cave began finding strange artifacts. They eventually uncovered extreme large skeletons and sandals that were 15 inches long, equivalent to a modern size 29 shoe. Red hair. Many of the mummies found in the cave indeed have bright red hair. While some see this as proof of a different race, scientists point out that dark hair can turn rusty red over centuries due to chemical environment of a dusty cave. Scientific reality. Archaeologists who officially excavated the site in 1912 and 1924 found evidence of a distinct culture, but many of the giants' claims were exaggerated. While some skeletons were tall, they weren't extremely tall as many other historical accounts of giants. All right, and the comparison to the Gandahar giant. The CT-Ka are often used as an alternative historians to suggest the race of the six-fingered red-haired giants once ruled Earth before being wiped out by humans. And in New Zealand, the legend of giants deeply rooted in Maori mythology, where they are often described as the first inhabitants of the land or supernatural guardians of the landscape. The Te Kaiui Tipua, according to the South Island tradition, this was a race of ogre-like giants who were the first to inhabit the land. They were said to be shapeshifters who could stride from mountain to mountain and drink rivers dry. Legend says they hunted with two-headed dogs, and lived in caves until they were eventually displaced or exterminated by later human arrivals. The sleeping giant, the Rog Narong Go Kaku, near the Havelock North, the silhouette of T Mata Peak, is said to be the body of a giant named Rong Oka. To win the hearts of the chieftains, he attempted to eat his way through the hills to create a path, but he choked on a piece of rock and died where he fell, forming the mountain's ridgeline, according to legends. The Kai Eheroa, the 12-foot warrior. Oral histories describe several legends of a giant warriors. One famous figure is the Kai Heroa, a chief said to be 12 feet tall, 2 fathoms, and he was a fearsome fighter whose skin was heavily tattooed and glistened with oil and battle before he was eventually deleted in a conflict with another tribe. The Kura, the Kur-Eng I Tuku, the bird woman. The supernatural being is described as a giantess with wings on her arms and sharp claws. In the famous legend of Hatu Patu, she captured a young hunter and kept him as a pet in her cave. When he escaped, she chased him across the volcano landscape of the North Island until she accidentally fell into a boiling hot spring and died. The Maero, the wild men. Often described as giants or wild men of the woods, the Maero are supernatural beings covered in long hair with bony fingers, sharp nails, and they are said to inhabit the deep forests and mountains, harbor a deep anger toward humans, and are known for their violent nature. All right. And the wild men, often described as giants or wild men of the woods, the Mario are supernatural beings covered in long hair with bony fingers and sharp nails. They are said to inhabit the deep forest and mountains, harbor a deep anger toward humans as well, and have violent tendencies in nature. And then there's the great fish, while not a giant. His traditional sense is a demigod. The May UI is centered in New Zealand's creation story using a magic fish hook. He pulled up a giant fish, formed the ocean floor, which became the North Island, while his canoe became the South Island. Similar to the Kandahar giant, New Zealand has its share of stories that a 25-foot ancient warrior skulls were unearthed in the country, although there has not been confirmed of it being real. All right, let's go to another legend. Yeah, so definitely with the Kandahar giant, it's definitely my opinion, real, and it's a cover up. The Taniwaha are powerful supernatural beings that inhabit deep pools rivers, dark caves, or the sea. They are essential to the spiritual landscape of Aotearoa, New Zealand, often acting as both terrifying monsters and respected guardians. The dual nature of the Taniwaha. Hello, Lori. Welcome to the stream. The Kai Taki Guardians. Many Tan Iwaha are protective spirits for specific tribes or sub tribes. They guide canoes through trenches, waters, warn of approaching enemies, and protect sacred sites. For example, the explorer, the Kupi, had guardians of the Tiniwa named Tu Hairangi who protected the canoe in the Cook Strait. All right, so dangerous predators. Other Taniwaha are feared as malevolent man-eaters. They are said to capsize canoes, kidnap people, and cause natural disasters like landslides or whirlpools if they are disrespected. Okay, and physical abilities, shapeshifters. Their appearance often depends on their environment. Water forms. In the ocean, they often appear as giant sharks, mango taniwaha whales, or serpentine dragons. Inland, they might look like massive geckos or lizards, with spines along their backs. Deceptive shapes. They can even take the form of intimate objects like floating logs. Let's see. They can even take the forms of inanimate objects like floating logs that moves against the current or remains suspiciously still in a rushing river landscape. Carvers off they are credited with shaping New Zealand's geography. Legend says the two Teniwaha Wahata Aitai and Nagake carved out channels for the Wellington Harbor. Culture identity. They serve as metaphors for tribal authority and principles of the guardianship, bringing people to respect, protect the earth. Interesting. All right, there's the Giant of Kanar, and infantry team leader reported seeing a massive heat signature that was quite mysterious that we'll get into at the moment. See, the Giant of Kanar, and we're going to talk this here. The Giant of Kanar is a modern military legend, often foreshadowed by the Gandahar Giant, but it features a distinctive first-hand account centered on the high-tech sightings rather than direct firefight. According to the story, an infantry team leader deployed in the Kanawha province during the 2008-2009 timeframe reported a strange encounter while overlooking the remote village one night. Lori said, I had to finish watching the grounds live stream. Brooks judge, you ain't been being respectful. Defendant. Oh yeah, that was funny. It's some people will think that like well I'll play the Brooks trial. Some people will say I play it often, but definitely it's good to. I think it's cool to watch at times. Although I do play all kinds of different trials, I think it's nice to revisit sometimes. It definitely is entertaining, and there are also some people that have never seen it before. Because I don't care what other people think. I just do what I feel is best. So yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed seeing that, Lori. It's very interesting. And last night there was a new viewer that never saw or heard the trial before that was able to learn about it. So it was a good chat last night. Absolutely. Yes, the Claude sticker. Yes. Yeah, Halloween. Yes. Right. All right. While scanning a valley through a newly mounted thermal scope, the soldier spotted what he initially assumed was a group of insurgents. Yeah, Brooke is cray cray. Yes, absolutely. Thermal sightings. While scanning the valley through a newly mounted thermal scope, the soldier spotted what he initially assumed was a group of insurgents huddled around a small fire or light source high on the mountain ridge. Yes, Halloween. Yes, Halloween. All right. Transformation. As he watched the group of heat signatures suddenly stood up as a single being. The soldiers noted that trees that specific area grew about 10 to 12 feet tall, and this entity was at least, if not taller, than the surrounding forest. Movement and speed. The witness described the giant's stride as appearing slow and relaxed. Yet it moved with an incredible speed, covering vast distances with each step. Disappearance. The being reportedly walked parallel to the soldier's position several minutes before disappearing behind the mountain spur. So you have these people in the middle of the night during 2008, 2009, and they were like looking at it with their binoculars, and they saw this giant person that there's like a goats and sheep and people by a fire, and they saw this giant dude, and they confirmed it was some very bizarre large giant that they couldn't detect. Yeah, Lori, you are correct. That one was really wild, indeed. Jeepers creepers. Scared. Being reportedly walked parallel to the soldier's position several minutes. Okay, so okay, let's look at some more of this right here. Another legend of some kind. It was all right. So this is the account of what happened from a first-hand perspective about it. It was 2008, maybe early 2009. We were pulling Overwatch on a ridge in Kunar province. Looking down into the valley, they felt like the edge of the world. I was a team of the leader, and I had just gotten my hands on one of the new thermal scopes. I was scanning the opposite tree line, just looking for heat signatures, insurgents, cooking fires, anything out of place. I picked up a hot spot near a cluster of trees at first. I thought it was a group of 4 or 5 guys huddled together, maybe around a small heater. But then a group started moving. It didn't scatter, it rose up. The single heat signature stood and just kept going. I'm looking at the trees next to it, which I knew were 10 or 12 feet tall. And this thing was looking over the top of them. My heart hit my ribs. I adjusted the focus, thinking it was a glitch or ghost image. It wasn't. It was a humanoid shape, massive, solid. It started to walk along the ridgeline. It didn't look like it was running, but because its legs were so long, it was covering the grounds faster than a vehicle on a float road. It moved with its weird fluid grace. No bobbing, just sliding across the terrain. It I didn't call it out over the radio what I was going to say. CP, I've got a 15-foot giant on thermals. They would have puzzled and put my psych scared profile before I finished the sentence. I just sat there. I gripped by this cold realization that whatever that was, it didn't belong in our world, or at least not the version of the world they told us about in the briefing. I watched it for maybe 3 minutes until steeped behind massive rock spur. It never came out to the other side. I never saw it again, but I stopped looking at those mountains as just a terrain. After that night, I knew something else was up. There was watching back at us. Yes, exactly. I agree. If somebody sees something, they need to say something. I agree. The the ruler tool incident, one of the most compelling accounts, comes from an anonymous Air Force drone operator working in northern Afghanistan. The sighting while scanning a remote mountain range, the ridge of the night, and there's a all right. The sighting while scanning remote mountain ridge and using a midwave infrared thermal, an operator spotted three humanoid heat signatures. The measurement. Drones use a ruler tool that calculates the width of the crosshair based on the altitude and camera zoom. The operator reported that the beings were as tall as the crosshair was wide, measuring roughly 12 feet tall. Comparison, he noted that the nearby goats on the thermal feed looked like tiny cats compared to the size of these figures. Legendary accounts of the Kandahar giant. The existence of the sensor logs is central part of the cover-up narrative. Redacted reports. Soldiers involved in these alleged missions claim that they initially filed reports detailing the creature's height, double rows of teeth, and six fingers. They allege they were later ordered by leadership to rewrite the reports to omit any mention of a giant. The 2003 media blackout rumors suggest that during a series of sightings in 2003, nearly a digital sensor logs and communications related to unidentified large humanoids were scrubbed or blacklisted from military servers. Official denial. While fact checkers like Snoop's Military Times contacted the Pentagon, officials state that they had no record of any such incident. Sensor logs are missing patrols matching the stories. So it's a cover up. Yes, Saw Girl. Yeah, it's a troll thing. Yeah, it's like spam. Many people who believe the soldier accounts of Kandahar and Kunar point to the Nephilim as the historical explanation. The theory is that these giants are aliens, are are mutants, but survivors of an ancient supernatural lineage. Hello, Anna. There's just somebody trying to spam, but it's all good. Thank you for being here, everybody. The biblical origins of Genesis 6. All right. The Hebrew Bible, the Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God, often interpreted as fallen angels. Anna, the person was spelling the word algorithm but spamming the chat. It's what some trolls do sometimes to spam a chat. Sometimes they say some bad words, and this time it wasn't a bad word, but it was still trying to when you have someone doing that, it's hard for everybody else to chat. So I'm not dealing with that type of nonsense. So that's what happened. All right. So the flood, according to Genesis, the existence of these giants and wickedness they brought upon the earth was one of primary reasons for the Great Flood. However, later passages suggest that some survived the lineage re-emerged. You did, Anna. You did. And uh, if there's one that comes in, you'll be able to. We'll let you know, and you can get it. All right. Physical descriptions given by the soldier: 6 fingers, double rows of teeth, and red hair match the specific ancient descriptions of giant tribes. The giant of Gath. The second book of Samuel, descendants of the giants, is described as man of great stature who had 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes in each foot. The Raphaim, the Anakim. Scared. These were tribes of giants encountered by the Israelites. The spies sent to Moses reported that they felt like grasshoppers compared to the sons of Anak. Oh, okay, Duke. He says they're saying they rescued the second pilot. Okay, thank you. Ancient skulls. The alternative historians often claim that the elongated skulls with double rows of teeth have been found in mounds across the Middle East and Americas. All right, and let's get into this breaking news right here. Let's see. Let's see. And let's go to this one right here. Thank you, Duke, for the info. Yeah, one of the 2 crew members. No, wait. He's saying the second pilot was rescued. Okay, I'm reading it now. Okay, thank you, Duke. I read your comment. All right, well, that is good. I'm glad that they got the second one. Okay, so why Afghanistan? The Middle East and Central Asia are seen to believers as the cradle of these ancient entities. The Watchers. The Book of Enoch claims that the fallen angels Watchers descended onto Mount Hermon, which is the same general geographic region. Isolation. The theory suggests that the deep, unexplored cave systems of Hindu Kush mountains provided perfect hiding spot for the last remnants of this race survived for thousands of years, hidden from modern civilization. Let's see. Biblical and mythological terms, the extreme height of the Nephilim is usually explained by the nature of their hybrid DNA, a literal physical manifestation of celestial human crossing. The Book of Enoch and Book of Genesis, the Nephilim are offspring of the sons of God, angels watchers, and daughters of men, because the angels are considered celestial entities and powerful beings. They're believed to inherit a supercharged version of human biology. Massive size was seen as proof that they were corruptions of the natural order too big for the human world to contain. The genetic overflow theory. Some theological interpretations suggest that the sheer power of the angelic seed caused a form of hypergrowth. Book of Enoch, the heights describe staggering claims that reach to 3,000 eels, or ells, roughly 4,500 feet. Though most scholars view this as a metaphor of power rather than literal measurement, but it may have been literally that tall. The giant of Gandahar is 10 to 15 feet tall, which is still double the size of a normal man. Symbolism of the fall. Spiritually, the height represented their hubris and rebellion. In the ancient Near East cultures, the height was a symbol of status and divine favor. However, the Nephilim, their height was a perversion. They were physically imposing the reflection of their inner nature. They were high and mighty, but lacked the spiritual grace of their fathers or the humble morality of their mothers. The scientific speculation of the ancient astronaut. In modern fringe science, ancient alien theories, the Nephilim are explained as genetic experiment. Genetic engineering. Their proponents suggest angels were actually advanced extraterrestrials who modified the human DNA. Result: the giants were biologically byproduct of a growth hormone or genetic sequence that human frame couldn't handle, leading to a double rows of teeth, 6 fingers, and reported soldier accounts. Like, say the Greys are one of these aliens that allegedly do experiments on people. And like I said, okay, so what happened, Moki, the demo character was right there, was uh, seems to be spamming the chat and saying algorithm, and a lot of times these trolls will spam different words and stuff like that, and uh, was not playing around with that. So that was the, if you see a bunch of deleted messages, that's what it was. Yeah, a spammer. giants were biological byproduct of the growth hormone genetic sequence that human frame couldn't handle, leading to the double rows of teeth, 6 fingers on soldier account. In many of the true soldier stories, the discussed like Kandahar, the giants are said to have double rows of teeth. Historians link this to the idea that these beings had. Yeah, you missed it. Right. Had specialized jaws to support the massive amounts of calories needed. Okay, so we got that. And let's talk about. Okay, got some other rabbit holes. Let's go here. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, yeah. Be nice boy demo. Right. And comedy says love the background landscape. Okay, thank you. So the background landscape is the two sons of Serpo. So I put into a thing what exactly what Planet Serpo looks like, and that's what it looks like in exact detail. So yeah, the backdrop I have is Planet Serpo. Ogie said there is a giant Mexican Easter party in the park by my house. I love Fiesta. Oh, that is good. That is good that you liked that. I love Fiestas too, and I'm glad they're having a good time. Hello, Sunny. Oh, we'll get into that right now. And shout out to Sunny Cool People. Yeah, yeah. I heard of this a couple of months ago. Yeah, so that's I talked about this before. Yeah, so when there's the Sphinx, right, and there's going to be Regulus, it's going to be aligned with it. Well, Sonny, what I think about it is it goes with everything else that's going on because there's comets falling from the sky. There's been red skies in the Middle East, Australia, and Europe, and just something weird's going on. So for this to happen too, along with the red moon, all the wars happening, I think it's a sign that something is either coming or entering a phase. So yeah, Smokey has sent me reels about that, and I talked about it on the show before. It took me like a second to uh, explain it, but yeah, yeah, it's when you got the Sphinx, and then you got Regulus, which is kind of like this a red planet. It might be a star. I don't. It's something like that, and it goes in front of the Sphinx, and it's all aligning at the same time. So what my theory about it is that it means that something happening on Easter means that there's something going to happen or something is happening. Right. And that is my perspective about it, and I'm going to read to y'all about exactly what it is because I've explained it, and it has to do with an Easter prophecy that is occurring the with the Sphinx, and it could be a precursor for the apocalypse, or it could have to do with some sort of hidden knowledge being revealed. There's been talks about aliens being talked about. Could it be a divine intervention of a human awakening? It could be that. It could be some sign that something's going to happen, or it could be the beginning of some phase of a prophetic thing about to occur and aligning with all the other things of it certainly to me seems like it means that something is happening. It's parallel with the other things that we're speaking of. Oh, hello, Carlos. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Carlos, in chat. Does anybody believe the giant of Kandahar is real that I was mentioning before? Anybody have any thoughts about that? Let us know if you do. I certainly think that it is real. Definitely. I think it's certainly a cover up. So, the Easter prophecy phenomenon involves the specific astronomical alignment described as Regulus turning red at the Sphinx's gaze, which I mentioned a moment ago. Alignment. There's a prediction that Regulus, the brightest star in the constellation Leo, rises in the eastern horizon directly in a line of sight of the Great Sphinx of Giza. A significant shift will occur. This event described as an apocalypse, but as a revelation or a knowledge of humanity. Speculation includes the discovery of a hull of records under the Sphinx, or a global shift in human consciousness. Divine intervention. Bedso has described a vision where a major conflict, often side between Iran and Israel, triggers the appearance of thousands of orbs rising from the oceans and sky to stop the violence and wake up humanity. Yeah, there has been orbs and things being seen at those places in Israel and stuff. Yeah, there has been sightings of those. I guess Iran too. I'm not too sure of these giant orbs floating up. The scientific astronomical context. The red star, while Regulus is a blue-white star, it appears red or orange when rising low in the horizon, due to atmospheric scattering similar to sunset. Yes, hit the like button, and thank you, Moki, to remind chat. Absolutely. The low horizon due to atmospheric scattering and similar sunset. There is some. Whenever I do the phone live, I'll talk about the Gandahar giant, and that'll be something else I get into on that stream. Date discrepancies. While Easter 2026 date is widely cited, clarified the lady gave him astrological symbols rather than calendar dates. Some astronomers analyzed the suggested thing will occur in August 29 to October 27. No, October 7, not 27. Ongoing phenomenon. It has been studied by officials from CIA, NASA, and Vatican. Witnesses of high level officials who visit Bled CO often report experiencing the phenomenon themselves, such as seeing orbs or UFOs in his presence. Oh, thank you, Sawgirl. The reason why I don't have any commercials is because I simply didn't. I don't monetize the streams because I think it's annoying when I watch a live stream and I see commercials. So I want to focus on the product, making sure that people can have content. Imagine talking to Moki and say we're having a conversation and an ad happens. I just would feel so stupid. It just would feel just not right. And I don't have them on the streams because I want it to be a communication. I want to make sure that the product is good. So that's why there's no ads. Yeah. Now people can send super chats or become members. There are some there's shorts ads, but it doesn't really affect the video itself. There's ads on there, but there's on those, but not on the live streams. Never on the live streams. That's really annoying. Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. And comedy says good move because more and more people will get premium, and then you will have built the audience and get revenue. No one is watching commercials. Right. Right. And I just see my philosophy about this is that you it's not about making money or anything. It's about creating a wonderful product. And I just that really is the only thing that matters to me. And because life is short, and it doesn't really matter, you know, about all that. So I just want to make sure the product is as best it can be. And that's why I didn't put ads in these things. And we will have, I want there to be the best way of seeing this that way. Yeah, Samoki says spread the word because this is a pretty much open forum about everything. Yes. Right. And Comedy came and he joined our spaceship yesterday. He's and also Carlos too. It's nice to have the new members from our stream last night. It was really cool. Good conversation. Yeah. So so that was my philosophy about things. I mean, I uh, sacrificed a lot of pretty much everything for this, and I had different alien videos that I wanted people to know about, so I spread different like ads about it, the alien stuff, and many people told me their alien encounters years ago. And now with the phone lives and videos too, and live streams, people tell me their encounters, and there's thousands of encounters everywhere. People are having about these things, so I'm glad that it's gaining traction. And yeah, I don't want any ads in these because I'll tell you how it works. So when I go to set up a live stream, there's a monetization thing, and I turn it off. And YouTube honors the agreement, and they don't run ads in it. And I don't care. It's like it tells me all kinds of messages. It tells me you could members can get less ads, and this is like I don't. All this doesn't matter to me. And even the membership thing is only 99 cents. So because it's the cheapest membership in the entire YouTube that I'm aware of. And everyone else has it like at $4. Just like at iTunes, I used to buy things for 99 cents, a music track. And that's why I like to put my sound effects in the membership thing. So yeah, 99 cent membership, and it was requested, and I put it out there, and people like the stickers and stuff. So I just basically, it's about the product and the person's experience over the making of money. I like that you go into other anomalies stuff outside of just aliens UFO stuff. Oh yes, yes. That is true comedy. I'm into politics. I'm into uh, religion. I'm into everything. I'm like the jack of all trades, so to speak. I'm all kinds of different things besides just aliens. Many people do compliment that I'm into multiple things because the channel is eclectic, and which means that all kinds of various topics. Because I'm interested in many different things. Because rather than making a bunch of different content about different, because people make this is what they do. They make different channels for different topics. It's you're just spreading yourself thin. Oh yeah, we've done deep dives into Epstein, and because of the phone lives, I've not been able to work on the new Epstein videos, but I'm going to put them out though. And at some point. So yeah, we've done deep dives into Epstein and his into the files of one of the videos I did about Epstein. We did very well, and it's still going viral right now about the files iceberg. Yeah, people definitely like that take, and we went very deep into it. There's some more videos to put out though about it, of course. And yeah, Smokey, I do believe the alien stuff is gonna blow up soon. It's gaining more traction than it ever did before. So yeah, I'm glad people like the Garden Live, and people seem to think it's relaxing and kind of like puts people in a dream state. It's I used to watch videos of people talk about stories with a backdrop of that. I've watched people talk about yeah. So Moki says Alien says Alien is me actually. Anyway, Moki says Alien, we are going to for UFO files to drop, and then we're going to eat pizza and read it all. We are Moki. That is true. It's going to be fun doing that. Yeah, and I look forward to that. And they're going to have aliens.gov where they're going to release those files out, and it's going to. I hope that they release as much information as possible because a lot of times they don't release things, but this time hopefully they release everything that they need to release. Yeah, it'll be very. I look forward to doing that with you, Moki. Absolutely. So yeah, definitely what we will do is see all the different everybody that doubted the aliens need to send an apology letter because a lot of people thought it was just something made up. Yeah, facts. Oh yeah, that'd be nice to have Sawgirl on board. Yeah, I appreciate that chat doesn't like. I mean, I appreciate chat is glad they don't like the ads myself because I don't like putting them in there. See, Moki, I watch a trial and I would either be watching my computer or I'd be outside or somewhere, and I would hear an ad coming up and I have to go inside and change it. But so I'm just like, I don't even care at this point. It's like, let the product be good. So that's how it is. And I didn't even really know that I was going to be a streamer. I didn't know I was going to be a streamer either. That was unexpected. But people want me to go live, so I went live. That was back when I was into the politics stuff. And then I went over to the true crime stuff, and here we are. And so, yeah, interesting where life takes you. So, definitely a alien pizza party sounds fun to me. Definitely. Release all that information. And we'll see the truth in aliens.gov. I it's historical that they finally are releasing that stuff. It is very historical. Lori said, "I watch YouTube so much. I have YouTube Premium Lite. It's $8 a month and half of it regular YouTube Premium." Oh, okay, Lori. Very interesting. Half of, yes, yeah, and it is true with YouTube Premium. It does that does bring it into the channel too. Yes, because people make with the ads or and YouTube Premium. So I did see some metrics about it, and I was kind of confused. And it told me the YouTube Premium viewers watch it too. So oh, okay, because there's no ads in anything. So that is cool. On my other channel, which is the one I watch stuff on for all of you, I when we watch trials or watch something when we react to videos on here, I have YouTube Premium on there so we could have an ad-free experience. So I have it on another account, not on the Alien Spaceship account though. But yeah, facts are grow. Facts. Yeah, so and I think the YouTube system of having various ads is I don't like the way they do it with the inside a video like that. It's they don't focus on the product; they focus on making the product benefit them. Right. Like for instance, the iPhone could have had ads in it, but they chose not to put ads in the iPhone. Say you see, it's the same type of concept. When the other phones have ads in them, but not the iPhone, they didn't put ads in there. Oh, nice. Yes, Lord, awesome. Well, yeah, and definitely. I remember the beginning, but way in the beginning, as I would react to things on here, and there'd be ads, and I'm like, this has to not be the way it is. But chat was actually quite didn't seem to mind too much, and that was cool. But we could make a better experience, so I got the premium on the other account, and yeah, and my account, the alien spaceship one, it's a brand account, so if I wanted to say rent a movie or something, it would be through the other account that y'all watch, the one I show y'all stuff on, because that one's like a recreational account, but it's used primarily. I use it primarily for y'all, the viewers, to look at stuff. I have actually quite a few YouTube accounts. I have quite a few of them, but they don't really, not really used for anything too much. Except the main one is used for the YouTube stuff. I didn't want to split it up into different things. I want to put everything on one channel. All right, thank you, Hans, for all your support. You have no idea how much of a difference it has made for me. Oh, well, thank you so much. And love y'all. Hope to see you all tomorrow. Okay, Moki, thank you for coming, and I appreciate you very much as well. Thank you. All right, so we are, but yeah, that's definitely the thing to realize is that so many people will see. Something wild actually. Like I wasn't even the monetization thing. It's like I wasn't even thinking of that, but it happened. It just is basically a lot of times people and look, there's people that have way bigger channels than I do, but my channel is growing. It's continuously growing every single day. But the thing with the people put the cart before the horse, and they want to sell sugar water, right? Like someone wants to sell some sugar water, they're going they're not going to focus on the product itself, right? They just want to make the money. So a lot of times, people like I'll see these memberships, people, and I don't want to hate on any channel or anybody. I'm not hating on anybody specific at all. Just and people that want to make money with it or whatever, that's good for them. But the thing is, a lot of people do is like these memberships will be real high. Another thing that I think is interesting is where people will make their live streams members only after it ends, and I'm just like, they must have revealed a secret about a gold mine somewhere, but um, anyway, that is something I thought was interesting. And other times we go, oh, we're going to do this live stream and go to the members only live stream, and I'm never going to do a members only live stream. I'm personally never going to do that. The live streams are for everybody, in my opinion. But yeah, that is my philosophy about YouTube and why the channel is the way it is. I have it monetization is off on all live streams because I just wanted a flow of information, just you know, just like a club or a chat room, just like us hanging out in a room. And like sometimes with Lori or Moki or Sawgirl or Anna or whoever, and it's like imagine just some ads just keep on popping up while we're having a conversation, or sometimes talk to Mermaid to just having a conversation. And it's like imagine just having a conversation, and with YouTube you do this and that, and then an ad pops up. It's just it's like when you're hearing somebody, you want it to be just steady and a flow of information. So, and I'm still making sure everything is the way it's supposed to be to give the best stream that could possibly be given to all of you. And I said, I appreciate. I'm glad for the feedback that y'all also like the idea of no ads, because it was always annoying to me when I would see an ad on a video. It just would annoy. You're trying to watch something, and it just you want to just. I'm not angry or anything, but you just want to take the headphones and just throw them into another dimension. We talk about interdimensional beings. It's like you just want to throw it somewhere else. Yeah. So, uh, that is why I was like, if I'm a user watching something, what would I want to see? Right? I would not want to watch ads. That's what I thought, and everybody else agreed with me. There you go. So that is that. I have a series of other rabbit holes to go down actually that have saved right down over here. um, whoa, that's a long list. Anyway, well, it's not like a terrible list, but it's like a list that you'll think is interesting. Yeah, I like a chat. Like, I'll give you like even an example. I'm serious. Like, sometimes I'll be inside watching trials a lot, and I feel like I need to get some sunshine sometimes, and I go outside and I'll walk around and listen to it from inside. I'll usually on my phone will look at the chat, and what will happen is I'll hear the cut to an ad, and I have to go all the way back inside to turn it off. And I'm just like, or say I'm in another room or right here and that happens. So I'm trying to hear the defendant say something or a witness say something. I'm just like, what kind of, this is not really cool. I know there's YouTube Premium, but something's not right here. Something's not right with YouTube, and something's not right when you're this kind of way of thinking. So that's why I was appreciate the people that I learned from on philosophy about how these things work, because it's about not putting the cart before the horse. So I'm glad that I thought that way, and I'm glad that y'all also like it too. So the one thing that helped me was like, if it's the last day of your life, what would you do? You know, if it's like the end of the road, what does it even really matter? And when you go to bed at night, is the product great? What's really important to you? Selling sugar water to make money, or something that's really great? So there we go. Facts. All right, gonna go down some rabbit holes for y'all. Some more rabbit holes. Here we go. The SOS sign incident in Japan. In 1989, searches were heard about when searchers looking for lost hikers in northern Japan spotted a massive SOS sign made of birch logs. When they rescued the hikers, they were shocked to learn that the hikers didn't make the sign. Further investigation led to the discovery of human remains that had been there for years, raising eerie questions about who built it, and it went unnoticed. Abandoned Disney projects. Disney has surprisingly long history of massive multi-million dollar projects that were simply walked away from. You can spend days reading about the eerie overgrown remains, Discovery Island in River County, which once flagship attract but now ghost parks. Lost media. There is an entire subculture of internet detectives dedicated to finding obscure lost pieces of media, ranging from legendary scary commercials that only aired once, an entire deleted episode of the TV shows that were thought to be gone forever. Micronations. Beyond the world's recognized countries lies the bizarre world of micronations. These are self-proclaimed nations started by individuals for everlasting uh, freedom for everything from political simulation to interplanetary exploration, like the Arican Empire or the Principality of Sealand. The Gateway Experience, the CIA astral projection. In 1980s, the CIA conducted a deep research into a program called Gateway Experience, which used specific sound frequency to supposedly allow people to archive astral projection and out of body experience. The classified documents on this area is wild mix of hard science and mysticism. All right, and let's see some lighthearted ones. Let's see. Okay, and there's one called the Great Emu War in 1932. Australian military literally declared war on emus because the birds were destroying crops. They deployed soldiers with the birds and they were going to have machine guns available, but the emus, using superior guerrilla tactics and being surprisingly tough, actually won. The official military reports reading that they were defeated by flightless birds is comedy gold. So the emus won the war. The the Toynbee tiles. For decades, mysterious linoleum tiles started appearing embodied in the asphalt of major city streets across the US, South America. They all had bizarre message about resurrecting the dead on Jupiter. The hunt to find the Tyler is in a legendary wholesome mystery that eventually led to a quirky lone inventor in Philadelphia. The Defunct Land Universe. If you enjoyed the abandoned Disney projects, this there is a channel that with massive rabbit holes, theme park nostalgia, and the defunct universe. Learning the surprisingly dramatic history of the Disney Channel theme song is why a specific, really beloved Muppet ride was closed down. You know something about there's a Disney theme park somewhere that's abandoned and it's really like messed up, but it's where some conspiracy theories of some weird creatures are, and a dude got banned from Disney from going there. There's a mysterious island Disney has that was abandoned that I remember reading about. I mean, I saw a video about. Hello, metaverse. No, hello there. The aliens like the sound of ethereal music. Yes, uh, definitely aliens do like that. That is true. Um, welcome to the stream. This is the world's okay. So the Voynich manuscript. This is the world's most mysterious book. It's a 15th century handwritten manuscript in an unknown language filled with drawings of plants that don't exist and strange astronomical charts. Code breakers from World 2 and modern AI have tried to crack it, but remains beautiful, baffling puzzles. The Orang Median versus Ghost Ship. While the Orang Median is built on spooky border rabbit holes, ghost ships found. Okay, metaverse, interesting. Don't know they produce tiers. Everyone either likes them or is scared. Press play somewhere to run by Free Wella. Okay. Thank you for the. I always think sound effects are cool. I I think it's nice to hear. I like making them myself, and I like to hear other people's ethereal sound effects. Okay, so while the Orang Median is a bit spooky, the border of Rabbit Hole is a ghost ship found with tea still warm on the table. It's fascinating, less horror, and more about a strange logical glitches maritime haven't been fully explained. Action Park, the class Action Park. Before modern safety regulations, there was an action park in New Jersey. Its legendary Cannonball Loop, a water slide with literal vertical loop that reportedly knocked out the teeth of test subjects. The park was chaotic. AOC wants to still serve aliens. Now, what I think, Mev, is that they need to release the alien files. That's what I think they need to do for sure. And wants to still serve aliens. Yeah. Shout out to the aliens. Aliens are the best. Facts. And before modern safety regulations, there was an action park in New Jersey. It's legendary for its cannon, cannonball loop water slide with a literal vertical loop purportedly knocked out teeth of its subjects. The park was so chaotic it was nicknamed Traction Park, and the stories of its dangerously creative AI. Okay, Mev says Donald has a magic. Yeah, I agree, Nana. Yeah. And Saul says powers aliens, and Donald has a magic potion for them because you recruit Nikki. Oh, okay, and Angelina Jolie is on it. Don't let the eyes fool you. Oh, I think Angelina. Yes, Saw Girl. She's a chick from New York. That's what I think. That Congresswoman. I don't know what she is, Senate or Congress, something like that. Yeah. So Angelina, yeah, definitely she's involved in all that stuff. I think most likely. I don't let the eyes fool me. I'm definitely certain that is true. And interesting thoughts, Mev, about this and about the alien matter and the land of Oz. Abandoned wizard. There's Duke. Yeah, see, Duke once again thought he could sneak past me, but I caught him red-handed, and that's him right there. Shout out to Duke. And Land of Oz, located atop Beach Mountain, North Carolina. Sawgirl, I agree. I think she certainly is very beautiful, indeed. Definitely is true, and she also is good in the movies. Invest in Bolt House Farms because if they bottle it, you can drink it. Now, I think bottles in general would be something to invest in. If there was a company that sold bottles, because bottles, everyone uses a bottle, so it would probably make quite a bit of money. Uh, if it's like, say, a company's like selling bottles for other companies, even if it's like 4 cents, like billions of people use bottles, so that would be something interesting. And the land of Oz, located atop a beach mountain, North Carolina. This park was fully immersive Oz experience that opened in 1970 after a fire and series of misfortunes. It sat abandoned and oh, hello, what, um, hello, Todd. News reports are surfacing that the missing U.S. Navy pilot of Iran was shot down, has been rescued. Thank you, Todd. We heard about that earlier from Duke, and thank you for confirming, reconfirming what we heard earlier. Thank you. Sawgirl, the user was saying about I don't invest in Bolt House Farms because if they bottle it, we can drink it. And I was just saying that if there is some sort of company that sold bottles to another company, I'm just making up something. If there is a bottle manufacturing company, it would be good to invest in because it would produce so much bottles. That's all. I was just he's saying he's on some a Mev somewhere else, but I was just kind of thinking of another type of concept to answer your question. All right, so let's go back here. Okay. Oh, that's all the way down here, I think. Amusement parks. There we go. All right. Boneyard. Did you know that the theme park rides often had second lives? When a park closes, the rides aren't always destroyed. They are sold and shipped across the world. A fascinating dive is the mystery of King Cobra, a stand-up coaster that was rumored to have been secretly relocated to Russia after its closure. You could spend hours tracking where the favorite childhood coasters ended up. I mean, like plastic bottles, of course, there's pollution stuff people would be concerned about, but with those bottles, they can be able to like kind of float in the water as a raft, hypothetically. Okay, this the secret VIP lounges beyond the public areas in Disney are hidden corporate lounges originally built for sponsors like Kraft Foods or HP Mini. Of these secret backstage rooms still exist. Some are used as break rooms, while others are ultra exclusive clubs that most guests walk past every day without noticing. Bon Bon Land. If you want to see weirdest concept park, there is the Bon Bon Land in Denmark. It was founded by Candy Maker. Features rides based off of color, humor, and famous attractions. And there's some more of a darker nature rabbit holes of a darker nature. Kids for Cash Scandal, a truly infuriating dark dive. The legal scandal in Pennsylvania where two judges were found guilty of accepting kickbacks from private prison developer. In exchange, they imprisoned harsh sentences for thousands of juveniles for minor infractions, effectively selling children to the prison system for profit, which is messed up. The Horushi, Ouchi, and highest radiation dose. This is a harrowing case involving a Japanese technician who exposed a massive amount of radiation in 99. He was kept alive for 83 days as his body literally fell apart, and they're trying to examine treatments to make him stable. The Goiani accident, often described as a real life horror movie incident, occurred in Brazil when scavengers found the abandoned radiotherapy source, an old clinic, thinking that the glowing blue powder inside was magical or valuable. They shared with friends and family, resulting in widespread radiation poisoning, multiple deaths, and massive decimation efforts. Right. Yes, exactly, Sagro. Charlatine. This deep dive explores the disturbing world of private institutions like the now shuttered Ellen School. Parents would pay thousands of dollars to have their kid kidnapped in the middle of the night and then sent to these camps, which often used to cut, brainwashing, physical abuse, sensory deprivation under the guise of tough love therapy. Oh, hello, Mark. Welcome to the stream. All right, and there's Unit 731, a dark corner of the World War II history involving combat biological chemical warfare from Imperial Japan. They performed lethal human experimentation on thousands of prisoners, including vivisection without anesthesia, and testing the effects of plague and other diseases, much of which covered up for years afterwards. All right, here are some unsolved mysteries. The Lake Bodom Mystery of the Funeral Plot, 1960. Three teenagers were murdered while camping in Finland. The lone survivor, Nils Gustafsson, gave a description of the killer under hypnosis. The chilling parts of the photograph taken at the victim's funeral that shows a man in crowd who bears an uncanny, almost identical resemblance to the political sketch. Decades later, Gustafsson himself was charged and then acquitted, leaving the man in the photo as one of the most haunting unsolved images in true crime. Asha Degree and unidentified girl photo. On a stormy night in 2000, a 9-year-old Asha Degree packed a bag and walked out of her house into the darkness. She was spotted by motorists. Okay, Mark, have a good evening. Thank you for stopping by. On stormy nights in 2000, 9-year-old Asha Degree packed a bag and walked out of her house, and she was spotted by motorists but vanished a year later, and her backpack was found buried and double wrapped in plastic. Inside, a photo of different unidentified young girl, and investigators have never been able to link to anyone in Asha's life, leading to the endless online speculation about who the girl is and what she saw. The duct tape had Amazon listing. A more modern digital first rabbit hole involved the Dallas Cowboy bag listing of Amazon appeared to show severed duct tape head inside the product. The internet spiraled into a frenzy, theorizing it was a cry for help, a glitch in a matrix from a warehouse crime, while later debunked as poorly chosen prop book. The initial hunt for the photograph for and the origin and the person that took the photo remains a classic example of how quickly the internet can turn a retail error into a creepy mystery. The internet rabbit hole iceberg. If you want to see how deep the internet only mysteries go, search, let's see, for the rabbit hole iceberg of the Max Headroom incident in 87, hijacking. That one was something wild. Things like the CR6 involve obscure, potentially dangerous cults. The ARG, like alternate game, community steam disturbingly activities. Johnny Gosh, the milk carton conspiracy. Johnny was 12 years old, paperboy, who vanished in 82 and one of the first children to ever appear on the milk carton rabbit hole. Part comes from the mother's claim that Johnny visited her years later as an adult, claiming he was part of a massive high trafficking ring. This then stark theory that involves mysterious Polaroids left to doorsteps to connections or high profile disappearances. Todd says breaking the White House and Department of War confirms a Navy pilot shut down in Iran is safe, rescued in U.S. hands. Okay, Todd, thank you for the update. All right. The 2024-2025 Transparency Whistleblowers. Following David Grush's 23 testimony, a new wave of military intelligence insiders have come forward, and the rabbit hole involves claims of a multi-decade legacy program that allegedly retrieves and reverse engineers non-human craft. The real mystery here isn't just aliens, but internal shadow government, war between those wanting to disclosure and those keeping it secret. The nuclear connection. One of the most documented and disturbing patterns is the consistent appearance of UFOs around nuclear installations. Declassified reports from the site of Maelstrom and Minot Air Force Base describes incidents where UAPs allegedly deactivated nuclear missiles were hovering nearby. Researching the nuclear UAP link takes you through decades of official logs and suggesting something is very interesting and interested in most dangerous weapons. The Skinny Bob footage, which we played here before. This is a classic internet mystery involving a series of videos posted by Ivan in 2011. The footage appears to show a gray alien in a saucer craft, and although some think that it is not true, the experts in the field debate its authenticity because no one has ever stepped forward to claim credit for the animation, which would have been incredibly expensive and time-consuming to produce. The Paracas elongated skulls. Found in Peru, these skulls are often cited by ancient alien theorists, while mainstream science explains them as results of intentional cranial deformation. The rabbit hole deepens, with some researchers claiming that to have found a noise. Shout out to Duke and Todd for the updates. DNA mutations not seen known in human to primate, suggesting lineage that is very easy to extremely mysterious. The 2025 surge. Satellite anomalies in 2025, the National UFO Reporting Center noted the significant spike in sightings with over 2,000 reports, and researchers near Catalina Island, where high energy radiation spikes were linked to black hole anomalies caught on night vision cameras. All right. All right. So the golden era of unsolved mysteries is in the 80s and 90s. Only in the year 24 and 25, 2024, 2025, have provided some answers. So here we go about some unsolved cases. Asha degree, sunbeam case. The original mystery in February 2000. Just at the end of the 90s era, the 9-year-old Asha walked out of North Carolina home during the storm and vanished. A year later, her backpack was found 30 miles away, double wrapped in plastic. 2025 breakthrough. In February 2025, search warrants revealed that DNA from the hair stem on an undershirt on her bag matched Anna Lee Ramirez, who was 13 at the time of the disappearance. Investigators believe Asha was deleted and her body concealed with help of adult assistance from the Deadmon parents, and a witness also passed a polygraph test regarding the 20-year-old confession he heard at the party from the sisters. The original mystery: four teenage girls were deleted at an I can't believe it's yogurt shop, and this is in 1991 in Austin, Texas. The shop was then set on fire, destroyed evidence for 33 years. Multiple suspects were tried and released, and the case became a symbol of investigative frustration. In the year 25, a breakthrough. Genetic geology finally identified the leader, the killer, as Robert Barshers, a serial deleter who ended his own life in 99 during a police standoff. While he can't be prosecuted, the identification closed one of the most haunting cases in Texas history. Yes, I know, Saw Girl. That was something really, definitely crazy. They finally solved it, and it was linked to a serial killer. Wow. All right, Nylene Marshall, the National Forest abduction. Mystery. In 83, a 4-year-old Nylene vanished during a family picnic in Montana after talking to a man in jogging suit. Rabbit hole. The case is famous for a series of anonymous letters sent in the mid 90s. Not the mid 90s, but the mid 80s, rather. From a man claiming to be traveling the world with her. In a tragic twist, Nylene's mother was deleted, murdered in 95, while in Mexico searching for her daughter. The case remains active, unsolved as of 2026. The 98 Albany kidnapping. The 1988 kidnapping, rather. Okay. The the case in 1988, kidnapping and assault of Albany, Georgia, remained cold for 35 years. The 2025 resolution: evidence that was carefully presented in 88, long before DNA testing was standard tool, was finally analyzed. On June 2025, a 58-year-old Reagan Caldwell, which is, I should say it's Reg Caldwell, was sentenced to 2 life sentences after his DNA matched the decades-old sample. Christine Davis. 1981, the University of Idaho student Christine David vanished when cycling in Moscow, and the remains were found days later in Snake River. As of late 2025, the remains high-profile cold case of Northwest investigators frequently looked for links other than regional series of killers, making it a central point of Highway 95 crime theories. All right, those were some really spooky ones. All right, so here are some ghost ones. General Wayne in Ghost 80s investigation. This historic Pennsylvania inn was subject to massive paranormal investigation in the 80s after decades of reports involving lonely Hessian soldier and other Revolutionary War era spirits. Often cite this as one of the most haunting segments of the original Unsolved Mystery series. The skeptical twist, a major 80s rabbit hole when the case and other theories that high levels of carbon monoxide in the building, leading to the cause of accidental poisoning at the time, might have caused the hallucinations of ghosts and dismembered voices reported by staff and guests. Even with modern inspections, the haunted reputation of the site persists. The Face in the Polaroid, 1989. The mysterious. In June '89, a woman found a Polaroid grocery store parking lot in Florida. It showed a teenage girl and a young boy and restrained in the back of the van, and is believed to be the girl is believed to be Taro Palicio, who had vanished in New Mexico in the late '80s, and ghostly connection. The case often called the ghost mystery because despite photo being analyzed, FBI Scott Yard remains inconclusive. The photo itself became digital ghost, people that may have never been located. So that is another eerie unsolved case. Oh yeah, that is Bubbles. Shout to Bubbles, Duke. All right, the hauntings of yeah, and that's Ito. Yeah, the Summerall hauntings. Jack and Janet Smurl claimed that over a decade, their duplex in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, was inhabited by a powerful demon commanding three other spirits. They reported protrude odors, physical assaults, and black masses floating through the homes. The '80s investigation. Yes, yeah. Shout out to Bubbles, Chat loves Bubbles. Yes. The '80s investigation. Famous demonologist Ed and Loren Warren investigated the '86, concluded that Dean was indeed present, and the family underwent multiple exorcisms, but supposedly followed them their whole lives, and before finally ending after the secretive ritual in the end of the early '90s. And the update in 25 and 26, the case is back in the spotlight because inspired by the 2025 The Conjuring Modern Spectics, researchers of 2025 have revisited the case with some due to investigations attempting to debunk the claims as exaggerations. Okay, the origins of the Black Eyed Kids. In '96, the journalist. Okay, Todd has another update. The War Department of House are now saying the pilot was rescued about 4 hours ago and held off on reporting until U.S. forces were safely out of the region. Okay, so I figured that. Thank you, Todd, for the update. Right, so there you go. Glad that they finally confirmed it and did it correctly, so U.S. forces were out safely, out the region. Original mystery. In '96, journalist Brian Bethel reported an encounter in Abilene, Texas, and he was in his car when two children with pale corpse-like skin approached him, asking for a ride to see a movie. When he looked at them, he realized their eyes were completely pitch black void, with no white skin showing. The ghost element. Bethel claimed that the moment he refused to let them in, the children vanished into thin air. This launched a massive wave of similar reports worldwide and of ghost children who cannot enter a home or car without an explicit invitation. 2026 investigation update. Verified incident report are being compiled. In March 2026, investigations have recently re-examined the NHI hypothesis, requesting the entities are actually biological probes or interdimensional beings testing human compliance rather than traditional ghosts. Kind of like the Greys. I told y'all that they are kind of similar to the Greys, the way those two kids look. Very cool. Very cool. I didn't know that about the story. Okay. You lived there, Duke? Oh, wow. That is pretty cool. Well, that's pretty cool. Scared. Body under the bed. For years, travelers joked about saying cheap motels where the room smelled off, only to find previous guests had hidden a body under the West Texas. I got you, dude. Box spring. This has actually happened dozens of times across the U.S. and European. One of the most famous cases was Capri Motel in Kansas City, where a man slept on a mattress 3 nights before. Smell became bad. Oh, your daughter still lives there. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Nice. Where a man slept on a mattress for 3 nights before the smell became so bad that the staff discovered a body stashed inside the frame. The corpsey boogeyman kids on Staten Island, 70s and 80s, were told stories of corpsey, no, cropsey, escaped mental patients with hook for a hand who lived in the tunnels beneath the abandoned Willowbrook State School. And the kidnapped children, it turned to be real Andre Rand, a former janitor who lived there at the campsite on the grounds, was convicted of kidnapping and he was locked up for that. The Funhouse Mummy. There's an old legend about a carnival funhouse using a prop that looked too realistic. In '76, camera crew filmed the Pike Amusement Park in California moved a wax mannequin for its arm to break off, revealing a human bone. It was the actual mummified remains of Elmer McCurdy, an outlaw who Leah died in 1911, shouted shout out, and had been sold various traveling shadows as a dummy for decades. Call is coming from inside the house. This is ultimate 80s horror trope. While often associated with movie When a Stranger Calls, it's based on tragic 50s case of Janet Chrisman, 13-year-old babysitter in Missouri. She made a panicked call to police that was cut short. When they arrived, they found she had been attacked by someone who had entered the home while she was there. The elevator to nowhere. In Japan and South Korea, there's an urban legend about a secret floor in a skyscraper reachable only by a specific button combo, and the paranormal version involves an alternate dimension, the reality hidden 13th floor phenomenon because of the fear of the number 13, triskaidekaphobia. Many buildings skip 13th floor on the panel, but physical space still exists, often used for storage and illegal gambling or squatting that goes unnoticed for years. Hello, DJ. Yeah, peace and love to you too. And let's do this. Yeah, facts, facts. Let's go here. Okay. There. Yeah, so we're talking about some urban legends. All right, the Green Barrier Ghost, the only ghost to win a court case. In 1897, the Zona Hester Shu died under a suspicious circumstances. Her mother claimed that Zona's ghost appeared at her bedside for 4 nights in a row, physically reenacting how her husband had broken. Oh, DJ, we're going down right now some paranormal rabbit holes at the moment. Her mother claimed Zona's ghost appeared at her bedside for 4 nights in a row, physically reenacting how her husband had broken her neck. The mother's testimony was detailed and consistent that the body was exhumed, the broken neck was confirmed, and the husband was convicted on basis of ghosts' evidence. Carlos, well, yeah, I had some mashed potatoes and some meat. That's what I had. It was very good. Did you eat dinner yet, Carlos? I Out of curiosity. And the face in the window, Pickens County Courthouse. In 1878, a man named Henry Wells was lynched by a mob in Alabama. Legend says that he was being dragged away. A bolt of lightning struck the courthouse window permanently, etching his terrified face into the glass. To this day, despite the glass being washed with gasoline and even replaced, locals claim that the face reappears during every thunderstorm. The Grey Lady of Hampton, Court Palace, one of the most famous skeptic breaker cases. In 2003, security cameras caught a figure in a long period of robe closing a heavy fire door that usually requires a significant force to move. The figure's nicknamed Skeletor by the press has never been explained. Oh, Carlos, that sounds delicious. Very good. Facts. And press is explained. And the palace remains a hotspot for sightings of the spirit of Catherine Howard, who reportedly screams in the haunted gallery. The Blelchin Tunnel Hitchhiker. This modern European ghost mystery in the 80s, multiple drivers in Switzerland reported picking up an elderly woman dressed in white in Belgian tunnel. She would warn them that something terrible was about to happen and then vanish from passenger seat while the car was moving at high speeds. The white lady's remains one of the most widely witnessed hitchhiker ghosts in the world. The Saley House Spirit, located in Archinson, Kansas. This house is famous for the spring of the young girl's name, Sally. Oh, good evening, Notice. Welcome to the stream. Uh, it's nice to see you again. 90s documented captured unexplained scratches appearing in real time on male investigator chest, making it cornerstone for case in modern paranormal research. All right. The legend of the Resurrection Mary. The original event, the story typically involves the young woman in white party dress, dancing shoes, and was deleted in a hit and run while home on the Henry Balmore, Justice, Illinois. The Vanishing. Since the 30s, dozens of men have reported picking up a beautiful, silent blonde woman hitchhiking near the ballroom. She's always asks to be dropped off at Restriction Cemetery at the car. As the car approaches the gates, she vanishes from the passenger seat while the vehicle is still moving. Physical evidence. A passerby reported seeing a girl locked inside the cemetery gates, clutching the bars. When police arrived, they found bars physically bent and the scorch with what looked like a handprints burned into the metal. Real world 80s ghost mystery Dorothy Jane Scott. And Dorothy Jane Scott disappearance is often characterized as a ghost mystery because of the haunting, untraceable interactions that followed. Party meeting. Dorothy was at work meeting Anaheim, California. She noticed a coworker looked ill and drove him out of the hospital. The disappearances. Well, while her coworker was being treated, Dorothy went to the parking lot to get her car. Her friends saw her white station wagon sped out with high beams blinding them. She was never seen alive again. The spectrular caller. For the next 4 years, the anonymous man called her parents every Wednesday. He would alternate between whispering, "I've got her," to laughing before hanging up. He knew the inmate details about her life only someone watching her like a ghost could know. All right, vanishing party guests. Josh Gumond, 2002. Though slightly after the 90s, this is a major internet detectives case. Josh vanished after leaving a party at St. John's University in Minnesota. His scent was tracked to a bridge over a lake, but no trace was ever found, leading to local legends about a ghostly abduction. Prom night hitchhiker, a common 80s variation of the vanishing hitchhiker, where a Girl in a tattered prom dress is picking up after party, leaves a jacket in the car, and drives later to find that some jacket draped over a gravestone in the local cemetery. See. All right. Linda's Bridge, Jamestown, North Carolina. Legend drivers on Focus nights near an old underpass, reporting a girl in white's gown flagging them down. She asks for a ride to address in High Point, but vanishes before a car arrives. Real history. Researchers have linked this to Annie Lydia Jackson, who died in a car crash on the road in 1920. In 2021, historians confirmed her identity and grave site, providing a rare solution to a century old ghost story. The Walhalla Hitchhiker. Legend on rainy nights along the Highway 107. Near Moody Spring, a man in a trench coat, muddy boots, re- reportedly asks for a ride to nearby Science Overlook. When he arrives, he vanishes, often leaving a conspicuous wet spot on the seat as the only evidence he was ever there. Local lore suggests that he may be the spirit of a pilot, Larry Stevens, who crashed into the area in 1950s and whose body was never recovered. The twist: this version of the hitchhiker, often young woman, complains of being cold, and driver lends her a jacket or sweater. Reveal: after she vanishes, the driver finds the borrowed item neatly folded on top of the headstone in local cemetery. The name of the stone matches the passenger they just had in their car. Yeah, these are really fascinating indeed. All right. In 2025, update. The case remains. Oh, you did, Lori? Wow. Wow. Uh, that is weird. Definitely. An update. The case remains Canada's most significant unsolved serial crime mysteries. Recent efforts. Wow. That is something. That is something, Lori. Wow. Very mysterious. And he loved airplanes and flew model airplanes a lot. Wow, yeah, that is weird. Yeah. Major cell tower and billboard campaigns increase safety an isolated stretch of the road. There is haunted roads in the swamps. Sea Park is a home no one in Louisiana most active spirits. Legend said Mona was a young woman who died of broken heart today. Nighttime drivers, especially teenagers, reported her clutching their windows or letting out blood curdling screams that echo through the park. On the Bayou Road, this long winding road between the Duloc, considered the most haunted in the state. Its famous phantom hitchhiker who looks like a man need a ride but becomes transparent or vanishes soon as you slow down. Locals report a white lady who stands by the swamp and causes wrecks by reaching out to touch passing vehicles. Man Shack Swamp Bridge stretches from the Ghost Swamp is 22-mile bridge allegedly haunted by spirit Julia Brown, voodoo priestess who cursed the area on her deathbed in 1915. Drivers have reported seeing ghostly apparitions, hearing screams of hurricane victims coming from the waters below. Any road. The narrow winding road haunted by woman in white dress who was in an accident. Drivers reported of their highlights flickering on radios cutting out as they pass Ghost of Annie, who still walks the road in the crash site. Okay, Sawgirl, see you on the Garden Live. Get some sleep, and then you join. Okay, see you later on the Garden Live. All right, tips for the haunted drives. Let's see. Let's see Northwest. All right, so the highway near Cannon Beach, one of Oregon's most famous road legends. Drivers report a figure wrapped in bloody bandages, smelling of rotten flesh, reportedly jumped into the back of a moving vehicle appears in the rearview mirror. Legend is often linked to a logger who allegedly met a gruesome end in the 40s. 5 Mile Drive Point, Defiance Park. This scenic loop is haunted by the spirit of 13-year-old girl who vanished while riding her bike in the park in 1986. For decades, the visitors have reported seeing spectral girl on a bike who vanishes as they approach. Dead Man's Pass. Scared. Bro, my evening has been. Oh, you're welcome, Notice. My evening has been going well. I've been enjoying the chat, the stream we're doing, and oh, in Texas, nice. And I have been, I've been doing well. Um, read some of the Bible earlier. I talked to one of my friends earlier, and before that, so yeah, I've today was pretty good for me. I hope that you're doing well too, Notice. Thank you for asking. Yeah. All right. So the scene loop haunted by the spirit of 13-year-old girl who vanished while riding her bike. Oh, notice that is very very good that you got time on your bike on the e-bike. Yeah. Oh, okay. Glad that you came in. I remember we had a good conversation when you came here the first time. So yeah, I'm glad you're able to catch another live. These are my computer lives that I do, uh, different than the garden lives. So yeah, I'm sure that it was you had a good time on your e-bike, and you know the weather's getting kind of bad where I am at some point, probably by you too. But they are, I'm glad you were able to get that done. Dead Man's Pass, also known as Cabbage Hill, is notoriously dangerous. 6% downgrade its name. Ah, okay, Noches. Okay, that would be pretty cool. Definitely would like to check that out. And you have a cool channel and all, so definitely would like to check out your lives. Absolutely. Dead Man's Pass, also known as Cabbage Hill, is the notoriously dangerous 6% downgrade. Its name dates back to 1800s, following period of intense conflict, and it has since been the site of numerous fatal accidents. Truckers often reported an unsettling heavy atmosphere and unexplained sightings along the steep curves. Horace Creek Road, Salem, Oregon. Local legend says the young girl was deleted by a speeding car on Friday nights. Witnesses claim that she. Oh, hello, frog. Just wanted to hop and say Bert Bert. Hilarious, frog. Hilarious. My day is made that you're able to come. Okay. And let's do. I've had weird experiences, not paranormal, but doing deliveries late at night. Oh, notice. I'm sure you have. I'd like to know about them if you want to talk about it. I'm sure there's been all kinds of experiences. Yeah, a frog. Been our friend for a long time. He's hilarious, and he's been on the spaceship for a while. Yeah, howdy, my buddy frog. It's happy early Easter to you. And River Road Bridge, according to the urban legend, a woman once took her own life in the bridge, and it said that if you park your car on the bridge at night and turn off your lights, you can see a lingering shadow projected in the side of the structure. Oh, Notice, yeah, I'm sure that was something cringe. It's probably the people could be really crazy, could be wild. I'm sure you've had definitely odd ones. And I also, we know cats have 9 lives, but you have more than 9. Notice. All right. Oh yeah, I don't think it is. All right. And some drunk lady asked me for food which wasn't hers. Oh, that had to be awkward. Yeah. You're welcome, Noches. And yeah, that happy opera. It's like somebody has. It's like not their food, but they want the food anyway, and they're drunk too. It's like adding some gasoline to the fire. The UBC hiker. One of the most famous Northwest legends occurred on the road. Okay, Frog. Good night to you too. Happy Easter, Merry Christmas to you too. One of the most famous legends occurred on the road leading to university in British Columbia. Sightings: drivers reported young woman in white dress standing by the road at night, vanishing. She reported sightings. Total silence. Backseat after picked up the mysteriously vanished before the car reaches its destination. Backstory: the local legend suggests that she was a student who died in the car accident on the same stretch of road years ago. All right. Phantom Highway 101, the Oregon coast. The sightings. On moonless or foggy nights, a pale woman with hollow eyes is seen with her thumb outstretched. Vanishing. If picked up, she reportedly asked to go north, but fades away before the next mile marker, leaving behind only the scent of sea fog. Okay, the ghost of the boy in Clinton Road, New Jersey. The legend: a sharp turn known as Dead Man's Curve, a ghost boy is said to hang out under the bridge. Vanishing interactions. Legend says if you toss a coin into the water, the boy's ghost will fling it back at you. Some visitors have even reported seeing the boy's body appearing briefly beneath the water surface before vanishing. Highway 299, shoulder walkers. Between Old Shasta City, Whiskey Town Lake is notorious ghost stretch, rather. Truckers and nighttime drivers frequently report seeing figures walking along the shoulder, often a woman in white children, a woman in white or children. Yeah. The vanishing. As soon as the vehicle passes, the figure drives. Drivers look into the mirrors, finding absolutely nothing there. All right, legends specifically of those who drive long hauls through the misty forest of Washington, Oregon. Sightings: drivers on only foggy highways describe an all black semi truck that emerges from the mists with otherworldly glow. The vanishing. The rig will often follow driver for miles. Its silhouette, stark against the night, only vanishes instantly as drivers approach, turn, attempts to pull over. This There is Mount Rainier National Park. Mystery. While many associates in UFOs with Southwest, modern era of sightings begin in 47 pilot Kenneth Arnold, reported seeing circular speeding objects near the mountains, describing their movement like a saucer skipping over water. Today, you can hike in the old West Road, an abandoned, particularly paved highway project, to reach the Marine Memorial, where hikers still report seeing strange lights, unsettling static feeling in the air during the summer nights. The Point Defiance Park. The Legend of 5 Mile Drive, a scenic loop, is the Tacoma Park is haunted by 13-year-old girl who vanishes while riding her bike in the park of 86. The sighting, even though her body was later recovered, her killer was never found, and late night drivers frequently report seeing a spectacle girl on a bicycle pedals alongside the cars before vanishing into the thick trees. The park's old growth forest. Mystery. The Stevens State Park. The site on Oregon's coast is famous for ghosts of a soldier who reportedly patrols the concrete bunker at night. Sightings. Visitors near Battery Russell have reported seeing a man in old military uniform holding a flashlight. He appears suddenly in the dusk or fog and vanishes into a thin air when approached. Campers at the nearby grounds have even reported the sound of heavy boots crunching on gravel outside the tent. The legend, known as the Crown Jewel of Ashland, Oregon, this park hosts several apparitions. The most bizarre is the dog face boy who allegedly lived in the area in the 20s, mysteriously disappeared. Ghostly details. Visitors also reported pulsating images of young girl and the faint whistling song of a logger who died at the site, often described as the tune played on a jug. Olympic National Park. The mystery. This park is often cited as a missing 411 rabbit hole, the theory about clusters of people who vanish without a trace in national forests. Unexplained reports. Often highlighted highlight unusual coincidences in these cases, such as victims being found in areas previously searched off their gear before discovered in neat, undisturbed piles while a person remains missing. All right, let's go here. Let's look at this one. Silent Mount's Rainer shakes. A former ranger at Mount Rainer reported that the mountain would occasionally quiver rather than shake like a normal earthquake. During these episodes, the forest would go into a deathly silence, no wind, no birds, and no insects. For several minutes, he claimed to see thin circular objects fly seamlessly into the side of the mountains as the rock were liquid. Target the elevation. A 26 investigation into the missing 411 case revealed that an anonymous interview with former Mount Ranger who confirmed to disturbing pattern near every unexplained disappearance in certain zones occurred at elevation at near 6,400 feet. He alleged that the Park Service was aware of the specific cluster but kept it from the public records to avoid massive panic. Barefoot prints in the snow. 2025 report Backcountry Ridge. A ranger investigate an abandoned hunter's camp. Found a pot of still warm coffee, three rifles with safeties off, but no hunters, leading away from the camp where standard boot tracks, but intermingled with them were barefoot prints with splayed toes that appeared to have been dug into the frozen ground with immense force, leading directly into toward the steep drop in the gulch. Predator camouflage encounter while camping at the base of Mount Rainier. A witness reported seeing a movement that looked exactly like the cloaking effect from the movie Predator. The clear camo type entry approached his tent without fear, and the witness was reportedly too terrified to move as he heard pacing just from his head all night. Yosemite whaling, historical but enduring ranger mystery, involves Galen Clark, Yosemite's first guardian. He reported hearing wailing sounds like a lost puppy near the Gross Lake. A local Native American tribe warned him that the cries belonged to a boy who had drowned and lured passengers to the deep. It was mournful cries as the spirits. It was a spirit, more of a spiritual thing than something real. Okay. All right. All right. At this point, time we're gonna end this for the night, and I'll be live later on the Garden Live. Thank you all for tuning in and hanging out with us. Have a good Easter weekend, and peace.